Hey, what's up? Look, I know that these episodes are a little bit late. Look, I'll be the first to admit that work got a little bit hectic and I didn't have time to edit. And so if you're watching this and you're super up to date, you might know that between when we recorded this and now, the yen carry trade, which we talk a little bit about in this episode, actually kind of collapsed a little bit and sent the economy into a spiral. But look, I'm not superhuman. If you're up to date, I'm sorry. And if you're watching this way in the future, well, thank you, man. But it doesn't really matter to you, I guess. So, look, the other thing is that the mic audio at the end kind of got cooked. And so I had to swap to the camera audio. So, look, we're trying over here, all right? There's only two of us. It's a rinky-dink operation. Okay? Look, it is what it is, all right? Enjoy this meme that I made like a month ago. And enjoy the episode. All right. Welcome back to the Tacoyaki Podcast, where neither of us have any money or any real money anymore.
Oh, we're just going straight into it, right? Okay.
Yeah, wait, what do you mean? I guess, okay, we didn't have any, like, usually we have a bit of a chat beforehand and we sort of get started after that, but no, we're jumping straight into it. The hard-hitting topics. The exchange rate from Japanese yen to the US dollar.
It's so bad, man. Like, it's not bad, like, but it's just depressing to think about.
It is. I mean, look, it's not a problem, I guess, as long as you never buy anything from overseas and you never think about leaving Japan, never think about going on holiday. It's just everything within Japan. I mean, even within Japan, there's been inflation, but like,
never think about how much you could be making outside of Japan.
That is true. I mean, like, if you're paid in US dollars or, you know, like any sort of foreign currency right now, I think you're feeling pretty good about things.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is quite cheap.
Like,
but yeah,
even before the currency went in free fall, when I looked at my salary, compared to what my friends were making, I'd be like, damn, I'm making like a fourth of what they're making.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. I mean, like, you always hear, like especially in like tech and things like that, like that's the number one thing that you hear about is like, oh, you should move to Singapore or you should move to like the US, like you'll be earning so much more money, like, oh, you know, the same role is earning like twice as much as what you'd be earning now. But, you know, I don't want to live in the US, I want to live in Japan. But unfortunately, those choices have got me to the situation where I think now it's, we just checked it before, it's at 160.89 Japanese yen.
So we're locked in here for a while.
Yeah. Well, you know, if you want to go overseas, you're gonna be paying, you know, almost like, like literally 160% of what the prices typically are. Because I think, you know, the standard kind of head calculation for the exchange rate has always been like 1 US is equal to 100 yen.
Yep. But it hasn't been like that for a long time.
Well, I mean, like, I don't know, like, how long has it actually been? Because I think it has been around that mark for like at least like 110 in that sort of region for a couple of years, but like recently it's just been going crazy.
So when I first moved to Japan, it was 2021 January 1st.
Yeah.
And I believe the rates were about 118 yen to the dollar.
Okay, so still not great, I guess, but not 160.
Yeah. I think when it started going crazy though was like when it hit like 130. I believe that was early last year. I want to say, like maybe like spring last year.
Yeah, well, it's been getting, I guess, worse and worse. It's a big driver, I think, for a lot of the tourism into Japan because you know, everyone can afford to come here. It's super cheap, like, you know, and everyone knows it as well, right? And like, you know, I guess when you think of like super cheap countries, like maybe previously Japan maybe wasn't the top of the list. Like you know, you think of more like Thailand or like, you know, more of the sort of Southeast Asia stuff, or fucking, I don't know, South America, like Africa. Like those are the kind of quote unquote cheap destinations. But now Japan, with the exchange rate, has been very much in that sort of cheap category, like like, you know, reading online, like there's posts about people saying, oh, you know, what you should do if you want to buy like luxury items, you should go to Japan, buy them, like go on holidays in Japan, buy them all on holidays, and then like bring them back. It's way cheaper.
Yeah, it's so strange too, because like intuitively, because of the weak yen, imported goods are at an all-time high, but for some reason luxury goods are super cheap. They're still following like Japanese pricing. I don't know.
Look, look, I'm economically disabled. I'm definitely not the right person to be talking about like economics and things like that. But I mean, my guess would be that I think like super luxury brands obviously have like super high margin, right? So like I think maybe, if I'm not wrong, this is not financial advice. Nobody listen to me, but like I would be guessing that they're just sacrificing margins so that they make sure they still sell stuff in Japan, and then I guess they make that up in the US or wherever can afford to pay for those super high margins.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like it's a weird one. Like, you know, I guess, you know, what we'll do is we'll jump into the first clip, because what we want, and fuck, I forgot to start the timer again. This is like the second time that we've recorded things, but I guess for a quick update on the podcast, we probably want to move to. I mean, originally when we first started, we're like, oh, let's do 30-minute episodes, because nobody wants to listen to us waffle on for an hour.
But we yap too much.
Yeah, we've been looking at too many clips, looking at like, you know, talking too much, and so the episodes tend to go for an hour. I think that we're going to try and limit it back to the 30 minutes, and then maybe like 10 minutes for a quick taste test, just to make things more bite-sized, make things more watchable. You know, viewer retention. It's all the strategies to try and get this thing off the ground. Yeah, so I think we'll jump into it. The first clip that we have is from Dog VA, who's a fairly big streamer.
Yep.
I mean, like when I say streamer, in Japan, like he lives in Japan, but I guess his audience is definitely sort of external facing. It's definitely foreigners.
He's living the dream right now. He's getting paid the big bucks, not in yen.
Not in yen, exactly.
While
right.
living here.
But he talks a little bit about the situation, so I guess we'll watch that clip first.
Yeah, I've been enjoying that. It's absolutely awful for people who work and live in Japan. You pretty much cannot travel abroad right now,
like me,
unless you are very, very wealthy, if you're earning yen. Because you'd go to like America, or if you went to the UK, you'd get a meal and it would come to like what would have been, what is now the equivalent of like $40 USD, right? Like, because it used to be that like 100 yen was $1. Everyone used to roughly do that. Now it's like 150 something, 155, nearly 160. But the prices have gone up in America, right? In Japan haven't changed that much. They're slowly going up. But like your salary doesn't change in Japan. Salaries have not changed at all in Japan, and they probably won't change, because Japan just doesn't do that for some reason. So what you would go abroad and maybe you'd pay $10 a pint suddenly costs you like 16 now in terms of like buying power. Like it's like impossible for anyone on a normal salary to like go abroad or anything like that. So just another reason why people don't want to, Japanese people just aren't traveling. But even within Japan, it means that foreign goods are more expensive. A lot of stuff is fucked.
Yeah. So I mean, like it's a pretty sort of simple summary, but an effective summary on the situation, I guess. Like, it's definitely the case. Like, I think a lot less people are traveling. I mean, have you been overseas? I guess
since I've been here, no. And now it's even further away dream.
Yeah. I mean, like, admittedly, like I think I went back to Australia over the New Year's, and then I was in the UK for work. And you definitely feel it. I mean, like with Australia, it's not so bad because I have Australian dollars there that I use. But it's still, I mean, like the prices in Australia because of the inflation have gone up a lot. So you still feel it. Yeah. But like when you think about that and then transfer it back to Japanese yen, you're like, holy shit, like this is so expensive. Like this is crazy. And then the UK, you felt it even more, like because I was using, quote unquote Japanese yen there. Like everything like meals, like food, drinks, like it's double what it would be in Japan. Like I think we went for Indian because I think the UK or London specifically is known for really good Indian food. Like to be fair, it was like a good restaurant, Dishoom's, if anybody knows that in London, and like I think we spent like £60 a head.
Oh damn! Okay.
But like the amount of food, I mean, it was really good food. It was really good food, but like the amount of food that we got for that wasn't amazing. Like it wasn't crazy. And like £60 a head is like starting to get to like 12,000 yen in Japanese yen, or like quote unquote $120 by the old 100 yen equals $1. That's wild.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I was looking back at pricing for stuff in the U.S. And like, so my mentality was back in the States, like a quick fast food thing that's like $8. Sit down place for lunch that's like $20.
They bring the mic closer a bit.
Like $20. But now if you go there, like everything has doubled in price, and then on top of that with the weak yen, it's basically like 4 or 5 times the price if you like convert back to Japanese yen on how much it's going to cost you. And so it's just it just makes
definitely hurts.
Yeah,
it definitely hurts. And like I guess for context, like in Japan here, I mean, there's plenty of Indian places. They're not as good as like a nice place in London, but like very rarely I think you're paying over like 2,000 yen for like your typical like a little curry set where you get like 2 curries, maybe like a naan, like some sides, like a salad and stuff.
Yeah, like a typical like meal, like 1,500 is like on the higher end. Like for like a set.
I don't know about that. I mean, I think if you go out for dinner, you'll definitely spend.
Oh no! Oh, sorry, you said dinner. I was talking about lunch. Like
I mean, like even lunch. Like look,
1,500 like teishoku set is pretty.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, like I just spend a lot, but like 2,000 yen and you're like really like you're full.
Oh,
like
yeah,
you're properly like oh fuck, like I'm stuffed. So like when you start looking at London and things like that, where it's now 40, 50, or
I refuse to believe that $60 a head is a normal meal in London. Ain't no way.
Okay, to be fair, it's not a normal meal, but like even like a normal coffee and like scone was costing me like I think £14, which is like $20 or something. Or like Five Guys and stuff was like, okay, I think I'm mixing up prices here, but like it was definitely really expensive. Like even just like typical things like a coffee was like double the price it would be here.
Yeah.
Pretty wild. So like definitely not the best of economic times for Japan. Like I think like you mentioned, like salaries don't really tend to go up.
Yeah. I think for projections for increased salaries, they failed that metric like by 2% every single time that they've mentioned that they wanted like their targets. I believe they wanted to do like 5%, and they only got like the 3.9. And even then, that's for like good companies, right? Like big reputable companies. The majority of people in Japan don't work at these large companies where they'll do those salary raises. They work at like these small little 5-man companies, right? Like they're not
especially as like a new grad. Like when I was looking for work here, I mean, like I did my first year in Australia and then I came over here. So like I was lucky I got to transfer with the same company. But like I think when I was looking at other companies that are purely Japanese based in Japan, like the starting salary for grads is like not far, I think like 5 million, 4 million, like around that sort of level of.
That seems like on the higher end, to be honest, for new grads.
Sure, but I was in engineering, so
okay,
maybe like it's a little bit higher. But like if you think about 4 or 5 million now in USD is like nothing.
Yeah, especially when you look at starting salary for an engineer in the US is, I don't know, like 50, 70K, or like is not unreasonable. I have some friends that started off at 100K, right? Yeah. And if you look at let's say 70K, in Japan that's like 10 mil.
Yeah, so let's see. So 4 million divided by 160. I can't do this in my head, guys. Sorry. 4 divided by 160. 25K.
Yeah, you're working at McDonald's.
That's wild. Like that's you're starting to get into like the regions of like not even paying tax, right?
I mean, but to be fair though, that salary, in America, you're living with like 5 other people. Yeah. That salary here in Japan, you can get your own place.
Yeah, not a big place, but
I mean, it's not like it's better than literally one room that in a house that you share with like 4 or 5 other people.
I think on a 4 million salary in Tokyo, you're definitely still in like a studio apartment. So like it is technically one room, but
no, but like you don't have to share with it. Yeah,
sure. At least you don't have to share.
Yeah, studio apartment in back where I lived in South Florida, near Fort Lauderdale. It was about I think a studio apartment used to be before I left it was like $1,400 a month, and that was like in a suburban area where it wasn't like a hotspot or anything. $1,400.
Damn. I mean, yeah, like there's definitely a lot more expensive than it is in Tokyo. I mean, people say that Tokyo is one of the most expensive places to live, and I don't really understand that. Like, I don't know why people say that, because I feel like the rent is not that, like, for a mega city that is like, you know, the biggest city.
I think it has to be like the cheapest or one of the cheapest mega cities to live in.
That's what I would think, but like whenever I see, like, I always see like rankings and stuff like that where like Tokyo is like one of the most expensive places to live.
Well, maybe they're comparing it to like the rest of Japan instead of the rest of the world type situation.
No,
well, like, because like if you look at mega cities in America, right? Like New York, for example.
Yeah,
that's like the most expensive place to live in all of America.
Sure.
Tokyo is the most expensive place to live in all of Japan. Maybe that's how they're doing it.
Well, no, because I think if I search most expensive cities in the world, like, I feel like Tokyo is usually up there. But maybe I'm just bullshitting. This is saying...
Oh, maybe they...
Singapore, Zurich, Geneva, Hong Kong, LA. Cost of living city ranking 2024. Okay, maybe I'm just wrong.
Maybe they're doing like something weird, like, the cost of living to, like, if you want to own your own place, like own a house in Tokyo.
Yeah, but like, I think even owning a house in Tokyo is not crazy. Okay, maybe I'm just full of shit. I don't know. I could have sworn that like Tokyo was. People are always mentioning to me like how Tokyo is one of the most expensive places to live, but I've never really felt that. Like, it's definitely, the rent is definitely cheaper than like the US, than Sydney and things like that.
Yeah, having lived here, like, it blows my mind how much independence you can get. Just like you can work at a kombini full time, and that's enough for you to survive. You know, you can find a place and you can live.
Sure.
But like, because like when I compare that to in America, like, I better be living at my parents' place if I'm doing that, because like, ain't no way I'm affording rent and any other expenses.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, I wonder how much longer that's going to continue, right? Like, I think we're starting to see a lot of inflation within Japan as well. And so, you know, people who are coming here on tourist visas probably don't feel it, but like, it's definitely starting to get to a point where like, you know, you notice that things are more like, things are noticeably more expensive, like especially things you buy on like a regular basis. Like, I think where I feel it the most is like little things where like it's like snacks that you can buy with like one coin. Yeah. So like in my mind, like, you know, a drink in a vending machine should be like, I think, 110 for like the small drinks, and then like, you know, 150 for the big drinks.
Yeah, even like,
so that's going up.
You mentioned that. Like, I remember I saw a vending machine that said 110 yen, and I went there, and the drink started at 140.
Yeah,
I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, now it's like, you know, the small drinks are at 150, and then like the big drinks are starting to get up to like 180. Like, depending on where you are, if it's a remote location, then it can be up to like 200 yen. Which like doesn't seem like much, but like when you think about it, that's like, you know, a 50% price increase and stuff like that. Like it's getting pretty crazy. And like, you know, things like onigiri, where like it's always sort of, if you've been coming to Japan for a long time, like that's like it's 100 yen.
No, it's $1.
Oh, sure, $1.
It's $1.
Yeah, it's still
it's still $1.
It's still $1. Now it's it's up there in the 160 sort of, like things are increasing in price, and so yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. Have you felt the increase in price?
Not too much, but I think that's because like Japan does a lot of things to kind of mitigate that. For example, they put caps on utilities, so we don't get to hit with all the import fees for the energy. You know, if you work at a company, they subsidize your transportation.
Yeah.
They also, some places even like give you subsidies for your rent. So really the only places that you truly feel it are like at the grocery store. And yeah, like for me, like the thing that's shot up the most in price that I regularly buy is olive oil and eggs.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't buy many eggs, but like I think people were complaining about eggs being super expensive for a while there. Like there was a shortage of eggs or something.
Yeah, there was a shortage, and like, so because I think a lot of chickens caught like a bird flu or something.
Oh shit.
Yeah, like, so I think a lot of chickens like weren't like
Dude,
they
they
had
got
to kill
hit
them
with the
off.
pandemic. Fuck.
Yeah, so
Damn.
yeah, eggs started raising in price, but like even then, like if I compare it to the U.S., it's really not that bad. Like my mom was telling me, so if you go to Walmart, a dozen eggs, like maybe $2-3.
Yeah.
But after the egg shortage and all that stuff, she said that getting the cheap Walmart eggs, a dozen, was costing her like $15.
Fuck. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas here in Japan, like it went from being like $1.20, or sorry, 120 yen, to like 250,
I mean,
250.
it's still a fucking massive pricing. That's
Yeah,
it's like almost double the price.
It's double the price, but compared to America, where it was like 6 times the price.
Sure. I mean, like, yeah, it's. I think eggs have come back down though, right? I'll be honest, I haven't bought many eggs recently.
I mean, I think they still stay around that 250,
Right.
unless you get like the cheapest of the cheap. But like my girlfriend won't let me do that.
Fair enough. Yeah,
Like-
on eggs.
Yeah, like for example, there's things that we can buy cheaper that have increased in price because like a lot of domestic goods in Japan have raised in price produce wise because they have to import all the fertilizer and stuff, and they've also been hit with natural disasters from global warming stuff. Like so, there's been like some crops that just kind of like died,
Yeah.
which has raised prices in the grocery stores. But you know, there's still vegetables and meat and stuff that are from other countries that are cheaper. But whenever I like try to grab it, my girlfriend like hits my hand away and is like, "No, we have to eat Japanese only goods." You know, like it's good quality, it's the best quality. You know, we don't know
Yeah.
about like those other places are sus. I'm like, but this meat is from Australia. I'm pretty sure they're known for having good meat. And she's like, no, it's not Japanese.
There is like something like about that. I mean, like I feel like I hear that fairly regularly from a bunch of people that I know who are dating like Japanese girls or like Japanese people in general. Like there is a very big focus on like where things are from, and so like there's like if you don't know, so in supermarkets and things like that here, like you said, right, like with meat. It'll make it very clear on the packet, like, oh, this is from America, this is from Australia, this is from within Japan.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it even goes as specific as like from what prefecture.
Yeah.
In Japan, so like things like rice and like meat. When people think about like Kobe Wagyu versus like Miyagi Wagyu, like all of those things are like sort of there are certain regions within Japan that are known for certain products, and so like that's like seen as higher quality.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely a sort of a focus on like, oh, like, Japanese quality is better, which I think is probably true.
Well, I mean, like you're getting it from like the place of origin is very close, so like they can get it during the like when they harvest it and ship it, it doesn't degrade.
Yeah,
as
but
much.
like my feeling with like Japanese farming is that there's a massive focus on quality, like almost too much. You know what I mean? Like it's like where they have those like $100 mangoes that the fucking farmer like sings to them every day, and then like he's like just like stands there all day cupping the mango to make sure that there's no stress on like the the stem, and like
I agree, like on like the super specialty, like super luxury versions, sure, but like on a normal like cabbage, like is it really that much crazier?
I don't know. Like if I'm totally honest, like I feel like whenever I have fruit in Japan, like it's better than it is in Australia. Like it's a lot sweeter. Like it feels so much like juicier, and like
I think some fruits yes, and some fruits no. Like
you reckon?
Well, I guess this is a bad example because I don't think Japan produces bananas, but
Yeah, that's true. I wonder if
bananas kind of suck here.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like I don't think. Look, I'm not a big banana aficionado, so I don't really care. But like the big one that always stands out to me is like apples, strawberries. Tomatoes here are fucking horrible. They're just like a watery mess. Peaches.
I was gonna say, I was gonna bring up avocados, but those are also imported. So like
Yeah, pears.
I really do like to. Oh, the ones I really actually like is the kiwis.
Kiwi. Do we produce kiwis in Japan?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, like there's even a kiwi mascot.
Where?
I don't know. I just see it all the time in the stores.
I'm just like, how does a kiwi even grow? I don't think I've ever seen like a growing kiwi.
I don't know, but the gold kiwis, those things are fire.
The gold kiwis are nice. They're very sweet. But like, yeah, like my general feeling with fruit here is that it is better. And like,
Yeah.
the beef, like, I don't know if I believe that, oh my god, it's like so much better, like fed or whatever.
Well, I
Like,
think
maybe
it's
like the A5 rank Wagyu, but like it's super fatty. It's super not good for you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it is very much a luxury good. Like, it's very high quality and delicious, but it's also like not something I want to be eating a lot of.
Yeah.
And I can't like, uh, it's just too rich. Like, I'm good after a few bites. Or I like for meats, like especially if I'm gonna eat a lot of meat, I prefer like leaner, large cuts or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, especially coming from Australia, like a lot of our meat is a lot leaner. It's a lot more designed to be had as like a steak.
Yeah,
Versus like in Japan, it's like, oh, like 100 gram.
yeah. Like, there's a reason why they sliced everything so thinly so you can enjoy it. Like, you can't just throw a big ass steak on the Barbie
Yeah.
and then eat it up like you can in the States or Australia.
Just chuck it on the Barbie, mate. Yeah, that's true. And like, the other thing is, weirdly, like dry aging and stuff hasn't really gotten off. I mean, this is completely off topic now, but like dry aging hasn't been a big thing here, which is sad because I like dry aged beef. But
Oh no, I feel like I've heard or I've seen some advertisements for like dry aged Wagyu here,
really
like places that do it.
interesting. Yeah, but yeah, like I think the supermarkets, you definitely kind of feel the price increases. Like it's strangely, it's not like. I think when it gets reported in like overseas news, everyone's like, "Oh my god, like there's crazy inflation. No one can afford anything." But like,
Yeah, I mean, like I read an article where it said like the projections of like households are gonna be spending extra due to the weakening yen. It's projected that households will spend an extra 90,000 yen in a year.
right, it's just like I keep using the 1-to-1, but like it's like $1,000,
Yeah,
$900.
yeah.
I guess with the new.
But
exchange rate.
like over the course of a year, like that's just normal inflation. It's not like catastrophic. Like that means you can't get like that ice cream every day. Maybe once a week.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, 90,000 yen, like it's not a huge, like a massive hit, but I think like the place. I mean, maybe this is across the globe as well. It's not only just in Japan, but like shrinkflation and stuff. That stuff is crazy. Like, fucking Pringles. Like I have Tim Tam packets like in my fridge right now that my parents brought over when they were here, and like I was just like looking at it. I was like, why do they feel like they're so spaced far apart? Because like the actual the size of the entire like packet hasn't changed, but like when I look at each like individual Tim Tam, there's like a fucking like 10 centimeters between each one.
No, do you remember? Did you ever have Toblerones?
Yes,
Remember?
that's fast.
Remember when they did the stringflation and it was just like massive gaps between
I have seen that. It's so
like
fast.
so many people got so pissed that they like changed it back. They're like, okay, we can't get it past them. Like that one was egregious.
It's not good, man. Like it's definitely showing up a lot in Japan. Like you definitely get like less of whatever you're buying in a certain packet.
Yeah, I think the most sinister ones that they're doing though is like they've been lowering the filling
What do
on
you mean?
like for onigiris or something.
Oh yeah, fuck.
So like it looks normal. It's like, oh yeah, it's a rice ball, and then you take
Yeah.
a bite and you're like, where the fuck is this?
I think that was like there's a short that we were looking at, fucking Chris Broad, like the Chris Broad and I think Connor, like I think they're both like UK guys and they go around to like a bunch of like British pubs and stuff, and they have like a a little like pastry and it just has like no filling in it. It's just like essence of like filling. Like someone just like got like a knife and just like spread it a little bit on the inside. But like I mean that always shows up, right? Like the number one meme is always like the convenience store sandwiches. I think like when you open it, like there's nothing in the back of like the triangle.
Like
It's just,
in front looks so
all-
full and luxurious.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit, okay, I'm gonna be eating good. Yeah. You open that shit up, and as soon as you take you take a bite, and you're like, okay, good, and then you look, and like there's no more filling. So you open it up, and it's literally just the edge is filled with whatever.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Like it's getting bad now. It's getting bad. Like it's getting noticeable that shrinkflation.
Yeah, for me it was like the olive oil. The 1 liter olive oil for like I think 1,000 yen that I always keep on buying. It's still 1,000 yen, but now it's like 700 milliliters.
Yeah, no, and like I think it all sort of has to hit a breaking point at some point, right? Like, so Japan is in a situation where like I think we're starting to have inflation. People are starting to not be happy about that, but I think, and look, like I said, I'm not an economic whiz. Some of my friends would be probably better at explaining this, but like I think to stop inflation you need to increase like interest rates to like kind of curb spending, but then we can't increase interest rates because Japan has like one of the biggest like debt to GDP ratios in the world. Actually, we have another clip I totally forgot about that we should probably watch. I think it summarizes it pretty well. So this is Atrioc. He's not in Japan, but he does like a lot of kind of like marketing or economic analysis. I think he used to work for Nvidia, funnily enough, as like a global marketer.
Government, they take some of their dollars they have saved and they start buying the yen, and they do it in the the dead of night right before trading closes, unannounced, basically, to try and shock some of the people that are betting against the currency to lose money. They're trying to scare them out of it. That is what they try to do. Now, obviously, they've done it a couple times now, and it's bounced off 160, but it keeps coming back. And they don't have infinite money. Obviously, Japan has large FX reserves, but they can't just keep tossing money in the fire. So it's interesting. That is why people say Japan's in a rock and hard place situation. They're in a bad spot because their government interest rates are so low and American interest rates are so high, that differential just naturally causes people to borrow yen, buy dollars, which makes the yen weaker. It just keeps happening. There's a non-stop out of Japan into America, but they can't raise interest rates because they're Japan. They're deeply in debt. So that's the long and short of the problem in Japan. They're trying to fix it. I don't know what they can do. I've not seen one.
So you have it. So like I think the crux of the issue there is that so Japan has had negative interest rates for a really long time. So basically, I think if you had your money in the bank, you were losing money.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about from coming from Australia. That's just.
I mean, to be fair though, technically, even in countries with proper interest rates and whatnot, you're still losing money if you just put it in a savings account instead of.
Yeah, but it's a different thing between I'm only getting 2% interest versus if I put it in the stock market, or it could be
Well, no, it's it's 2% interest, but inflation is higher than the 2%, so you're still losing money.
Sure.
It's the negative it's negative interest, but extra steps.
I guess so. But to go from that, I think now it's positive. It's very, very slightly positive.
Yeah, but it's 0.1%.
0.1. But they can't raise it more than that because I think they have a lot of debt, which if they raise the interest rates, then I think they just all of their taxes and stuff just go to paying off that interest versus paying off the debt, which just fucks things apparently. I don't really know how. It's not good. Doesn't sound good anyway. Doesn't sound good. And then I guess, with the interest rates being so high in the US, people are funneling Japanese money into the US to get that interest rate, and then I guess they'll transfer it back whenever it drops or something.
Yeah, I think the biggest impact of the weakening yen isn't so much spending in domestic households. They might have to, but it hasn't been a huge impact based on what we've seen. But I think what's really is really happening is a lot of migrant workers, I think, just aren't coming to Japan, or probably are finding it not worth coming to Japan anymore.
Yeah, I guess so.
For example, I don't know how, there's right now, I think the normal salary for an English teacher in Japan is around 200K a month. I don't see people.
A month?
Yeah.
So what, 2.4 million?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see a lot of, and there's no bonuses or anything. That's
sure.
Yeah. So it's 2.4 million. If you're not getting prorated in the summer or during the spring or fall break.
Yeah.
So it could actually be closer to 2 million.
True.
So I don't see how if it'll continue to be sustainable to bring new people in.
It's an interesting point because I feel most people come to Japan as an English teacher because that's kind of the default skill that most people from overseas have.
It's easiest if you have a degree and you speak English in an English speaking country, you're pretty much you can auto come. Or if you're from an English speaking country and you come on a working holiday visa, English teaching is one of the higher paying jobs compared to working at a ramen shop or something.
Sure. And then it's an interesting point because we have obviously a declining population because nobody's having sex and kids. A lot of people having sex, not many people having kids.
Apparently, Japan has a lot of STD. What was it? Syphilis?
It's so bad.
Syphilis is rampant here or something.
Yeah, this is off topic, but it's really bad. I mean, do we have time? What time is it?
33.
33. All right, maybe we save that for next week. Cause it's STDs are rampant here. If you didn't know, like, and there's a lot we can talk about there. I think so. Maybe we say that for next week. I think the issue is that like there's no kids being had, population is declining, but then like there's not much sort of immigration because, or at least high skilled immigration, because like, everyone says, oh, you earn double your salary in the US or in Singapore or something like that, and so there's not that many people who, one, are capable of working in the Japanese environment. So you get overworked, like you need the Japanese language there a lot of the time. Like maybe there's a few things like software dev where you need less Japanese, but really to have like a proper career in Japan, like you probably need to have good Japanese. And then you're earning less money, you're working more. Like it's just it's like a lose. Like why would you ever come here unless you really like? Very few people love Japan so much that they would sacrifice all of that just to come here.
Yeah. Like it's always been a meme that like if you come here to teach English, people always like try to talk you out of it online.
Yeah.
They'll be like they'll show you the rates at which people go back to their country.
Yeah.
And by 2 years, I think like 80% of English teachers go home.
Damn.
So like I'm sure that rate has increased even further.
But I wonder if that's because like I feel like a lot of people who come here for teaching English, that's not their main career, and like there's just not that much opportunity to do other things in Japan.
Like there are opportunities with English. It's just that like you have to be very informed and like you have to do a lot of that preparation before even coming to Japan. Like if you just come to Japan and teach English just because you want to try it out, to be able to get to a point where you can like turn it into a career, you have to like either you have to go back home and like prepare and then come back, or spend a lot of money and time still working like poverty wages before you can like get out of it.
Yeah, it was definitely not like an easy path, I guess.
If you didn't do the research before coming here, it's hard to transition. I mean, I guess the easiest way is like to open up your own school, but I mean, let's be real, how many people are going to be successful business owners?
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, like there have been, I think, a few cases, but like there's only so many like English school chains that can exist in a certain period, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that is that. So we have the food part coming up next. What do we have lined up for today?
So we're starting our tier list for ice creams at the konbini.
Yeah.
Japan has so when I first came to Japan, something that I thought was really cool was the freezer section in the konbinis where they have all the ice creams. Like there's so many options, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I quickly find out that a lot of options are kind of mid. How do you feel about konbini or ice cream in Japan in general?
Okay, I think gelato is not good here. Typically, it's very difficult to find good gelato. The convenience store ice creams, like, we'll talk about in the food section, but there's definitely a very big gap between each of the grades. And so
why don't you mention a little bit about the grades?
Well,
I don't think people know about it.
We'll leave it for the food section.
Okay, fine.
Click on the next episode in the taste test section for episode 4. Ice cream. So we'll leave that for that. Generally, it's pretty good. I mean, like, I love ice cream, so I'm excited for this episode, especially because it's hot today.
Yep.
It's
been hot every day.
It's been hot every day. But yeah, let's get on to that because I'm keen for some ice cream. See you later. Oh, like, subscribe.
Yeah, do all that stuff.
Do all the stuff. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you later.